At its peak, Palm Inc. owned the PDA market. And I'm not talking about public display of affection, I'm talking about personal digital assistant. And by owned, we're talking big numbers. $53 billion market cap in the year 2000. How did a company that big and that powerful essentially fade into obscurity? Well, you've come to the right place to find out. Welcome to Ground Floor Innovation. Today we're going to cover the story of the once famous but now relatively obscure Palm Pilot. Palm Inc., a division of US Robotics, was created in 1992 by Jeff Hawkins, Donna Dubinsky, and Ed Colligan. And the idea was to create a handwriting recognition platform as well as an organization tool. The first Palm device that was released on market in 1996 was the Palm 1000. Now the Palm 1000 you could think of as the precursor of the smartphone. It had sophisticated calendaring, it had handwriting recognition, it had email sync. It was something that was used by initially executives, but eventually everyday people to keep their lives organized and to keep things moving when they were away from their computers.
People say I'm all looks, no brains. Police? Oh, changez mon discours au musée, s'il vous plaît. Oui. But for really smart, check out this Palm handheld from CompUSA.
You would think the Palm was first to market, but actually that wasn't reality, because just a couple years earlier, Apple had released something called the Newton, which arguably was the first PDA to popularize the notion of a digital personal assistant.
Who is Newton?
Newton is as powerful as a computer. Newton is as simple as a piece of paper.
Apple conceived of the Newton back in 1987. It was launched in 1993 with first units shipping in 1994, 2 years before Palm.
Newton is for all you mobile professionals out there who like cool stuff.
So then the question is, why did Apple's first mover status not ensure its success? And why was Palm able to basically steal Apple's thunder with the Palm Pilot? Well, the answer is really threefold. One was the price point was very high. The Newton was coming in at around $1,000, which for early adopters back then was a lot of money, and especially on something that hadn't yet proven its use case out in the world. The second issue with the Newton was its form factor. It was big, it was bulky, and while it was a highly competent device in terms of all its capabilities, it wasn't something you could slide easily in and out of a shirt pocket. And then of course, the third problem was, although the Newton was announced in 1993, it didn't actually ship until '94, and when it shipped, it was really buggy.
When you think about it, the most natural way to get your thoughts down is to jot or to sketch.
We wanted Newton to be that natural.
Its biggest vulnerability was its handwriting recognition. So whereas the Newton was designed to understand actual handwriting, it didn't do a very good job of doing this accurately. So much so that there was actually a Simpson episode at the time that was making fun of it.
Hey Dolph, take a memo on your Newton. Beat up Martin. Bah!
But the Newton, unfortunately, was too expensive for the market, too bulky, too buggy, especially with its critical handwriting recognition feature. So ultimately in 1998, Steve Jobs pulled the plug on the Newton and ceased sales. So then the question is, well, what made the Palm Pilot such a hit? And it's the antithesis of what the Newton was. It came in at about $300, so a fraction of the price. It was a fraction of the size of the Newton, so it was something that was much more portable, had great battery life, and it had a graffiti-based system that while you had to learn it, once you did learn how to use it, was highly accurate. So consumers really appreciated the fact that this was an all-day use device. It worked as they needed it to work. It was excellent at email sync. It was excellent at calendaring, and it really dominated the market.
Listen, how's that new grandson? Paul, isn't it? This baby has done wonders for my social life. And isn't it your birthday tomorrow?
How do you remember all that?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a natural talent, I guess.
So at this point, you have essentially Newton fading into obscurity. And so the question is, well, you've grown this robust market. Clearly the market's been responsive and receptive to your offering. Where does it go from there? And unfortunately, as most of these technology stories goes, it went downhill.
We wear cool suits, we wear shiny shoes, we're the BlackBerry boys.
In 1999, we had the BlackBerry arrive on market. Now, the BlackBerry essentially took the functionality of what most executives wanted out of a Palm Pilot and added cellular connectivity, which basically meant that you now had a full QWERTY keyboard on a handheld device that could send and receive emails, that could handle a lot of the stuff that people were previously using their Palm Pilots for. Ironically, in the year 2000, Donna Dubinsky made the bold claim that in 5 years, Apple will be relegated to selling fruit. Well, those prophetic words did not play in the Palm Pilot's favor, because in reality, in 2007, Apple launched the iPhone. And the iPhone not only took away whatever remaining market share the PDA market had at that point, but they also completely dominated against BlackBerry. Now, the interesting twist here is that if you look at the design of the iPhone, it really harkens back to the design of the Newton and the Palm Pilot that came before, because there's no keyboard on the iPhone. It's got that same screen-forward design. And of course, that's now the form factor that we're all accustomed to.
Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen.
And so together, the Newton and the Palm Pilot can be seen as the ancestral roots of the iPhones and the Android phones that we know today. Now, if you like this content, please do give us a like, consider subscribing. We'd love to hear from you if you owned a Palm Pilot back in the day, maybe even a Newton. Definitely tell us about your experience. Otherwise, stay tuned. We've got plenty more content coming on Ground Floor Innovation, and thank you for joining us.